Welcome to the Addicted Mind Plus, the podcast where recovery, mental health, and wellness take the front seat. I'm Duane Osterlind, and joining me is my co-host, Eric Osterlind, known for his insightful work on the Stuck Brain podcast. In each episode, we'll dive into actionable, small steps to help those in recovery journey further along the path to wellness. Our conversations are designed to be concise, typically around 15 minutes, though we may occasionally delve deeper when the topic demands it. Our goal, to provide you with practical advice grounded in real experiences and expert insights to empower your recovery journey. So whether you're on a break, on a walk, or just taking a moment for yourself, join us as we explore the many facets of recovery and mental health, one small step at a time. This is the Addicted Mind Plus, where your journey to wellness gets an extra boost. So let's get started. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Addicted Mind Plus. Eric, I'm excited about today's episode. I think it's going to be a really cool topic.
I'm pumped about this one. This one's really exciting for me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the 4 archetypes of happiness and their role in addiction recovery. And this comes out of the work of Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, who is a prominent figure in positive psychology. It comes out of his research. He's taught 2 of the largest classes in Harvard University's history, positive psychology and the psychology of leadership. And this comes out of his work. So I'm excited to talk about it and dig into these 4 archetypes of happiness. They really can give us a roadmap to creating more happiness in our life.
Absolutely. But before we dive in, I want to talk about, we are going to be doing a deep dive on this as well. So if you're listening to this topic and you feel it's helpful, come to our deep dive. This is where we go in, we answer questions about it live, and we really get through the details because we can't get through it all in 15 minutes. So this is high level topic. Deep dive is where you get to get in the weeds, if you will. Go to addictedmind.com/deep dive.
And also, this is really exciting. We are in the process of building a community, and we want you to be a part of it. We want you to help us build this community. One of the things I can say over and over again is that community is key to healing from addiction. It really is the place where we get the support to walk through these hard things. So if that's something that interests you and you want to be a part of that, just go to theaddictedmind.com/community, or I think you can just go to theaddictedmind.com. It's right on the front page, and just get on the wait list, because we think this is going to be really amazing.
Yeah, we need your feedback because we're creating this community with you. So we appreciate it.
All right, let's get into this episode.
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
So today, we're going to talk about understanding the 4 archetypes of happiness and their roles in addiction recovery. And what's so good about this is that when we understand our archetypes of happiness, or these constructs of how we view the world, maybe on a global level, we can work to change those things so we can have more happiness in our life. And so if you're struggling with addiction, my guess is that there's probably some ways of thinking that you have in your life that keep you stuck, that keep you away from happiness, or make happiness harder to achieve. So understanding the 4 archetypes of happiness can really help you move your life forward.
Yeah. So Duane, let's dive in. What's the history of this? Who wrote this? Where did this come from?
Right. So this comes out of the work of Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, and he's a prominent figure in positive psychology. And a lot of his work was looking at the positive things in mental health. And this comes out of positive psychology. When we started looking at mental health issues, we started by looking at what was wrong, what wasn't working. And as we've evolved in mental health, we started to ask the question, what does work? What are the things that make someone happy? When we look at someone who is happy or has contentment in their life, what is it that they do? What are the things they bring in their life that create more happiness to them? And that's where positive psychology comes from. And he's a leader in that field. And he wrote a book called Happier, which outlined what he found in his research on these 4 archetypes of happiness. So we're going to go through all 4.
I love that. I love that we had a paradigm shift at one point and moved from just focusing on the negative into focusing on the positive and what makes people happy versus what makes people depressed. Like those are 2 different questions. So that really rings true, I think, in psychology, to look at the positive parts of it are just as important as looking at the negative.
Yeah, definitely. So let's just go into these 4 archetypes of happiness. The first one is the rat racer, or also called the overachiever.
Okay.
And this archetype really focuses on future happiness. So they're always racing forward. They'll say a lot of things like, once I get there, once I achieve this, once I have that, I'm going to be happy. So their mindset often sacrifices present enjoyment for the sake of future rewards.
Okay. So those are the people that are like, once I go to college, I'll be happy. And then they go to college and then they go, well, once I get a good job, I'll be happy.
Yes.
And then they get a good job. And then they're like, well, once I get married and have a good job, I'll get happy. So the goalpost always keeps moving a little bit further and further away. They never make it.
And they work tirelessly and they delay gratification, believing that achieving their long-term goals, like you said, is going to bring them happiness. But they never get there because they're never in the present moment to experience any of it. And from the outside, a lot of these individuals are really successful. They're really accomplished and they've done a lot with their lives. And yet they're still not happy.
Got it. Totally understand that. That makes sense. I see a lot of people like that. I've even been there, if I'm honest. I've been there myself at the rat racer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in our culture, that archetype is praised a lot as well. Like achieve, achieve, achieve. You've got to be bigger. You got to be better. You got to have more. And we can get lost there in that pretty easily, I think. So that's the overachiever. The next one is the hedonist, or the pleasure seeker.
Okay.
Now, this archetype lives for the moment, seeking immediate pleasure and avoiding pain. They, on the other hand, prioritize short-term enjoyment and indulgence, often without considering the long-term consequences of those choices. They're really into the instant gratification. So these are individuals, they may be having a lot of fun in this moment, but often they can feel like a little lost, like they're not getting anything that's really meaningful to them. So they're having all these amazing experiences, but they're not building into their life meaning, purpose.
Okay. So would this be like the person that goes out and parties on the weekends or does lavish trips or stuff like that?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, they could be. They focus on that the most, and they get that pleasure in the present moment, but that's what they focus on the most. And so they kind of get stuck there because often they're left without that meaning or purpose.
Okay. So more of an escapist. They're escaping
Yeah, I think you could say that.
the emotions right then and there. Okay.
And they can feel a little empty too at the end of the day, because once again, pleasure is wonderful, but it doesn't bring meaning and contentment either. So they get stuck, and that can be a sad place. They kind of go, oh my gosh, I've done all these things, but I don't have meaning. I'm just pursuing these things that are just fun.
Yeah.
And I don't have purpose.
And I could see how that doesn't provide long-term happiness because it's fleeting.
Yeah.
You know, the moment's going to go and then it's over with and it's done. Now what kind of feeling? So let's move into the third one. What's that one about?
Well, the third one is called the Nihilist, or the cynic. And this archetype really represents a lack of hope or belief in the possibility of happiness at all. They dismiss meaning, they dismiss purpose. There's kind of a sense of despair and resignation. It's not worth it, right? Nothing's really meaningful anyway. And they tend to disengage from activities that could bring joy and fulfillment.
Okay. I can definitely see how this one doesn't lead to happiness. If you're always looking at the dark side of life.
Right.
right? That would never push you in the right direction.
Yeah. And it's not just the dark side, it's that there is no purpose, there is no meaning, there is no such thing as happiness. No one really gets it anyway. So why bother? Why bother trying to get it? Because it's not going to happen.
Okay. So they're just kind of sitting on the
Yeah.
sidelines.
They end up sitting on the sidelines and not building things that are meaningful for them. Because what's the point? You're not going to get it anyway.
Got it. Interesting. Interesting. Now, what's the fourth one?
Now, the fourth one is the happy archetype or the happy camper. And
Okay.
this is the archetype where we kind of want to land. And this archetype really strikes the balance between present moment enjoyment and future goals. They're able to navigate that. People who are in this space embody this archetype. They find happiness in the journey and the destination, both. These people are really good at engaging in activities that bring immediate pleasure while also working towards meaningful long-term goals. So they're able to balance those things out. And with that, that brings a sense of not just happiness in the moment, of pleasure while we're doing something, but also that meaning that gives us purpose, that makes us feel content, that makes us feel that this is all worth it. They balance those two out, and that can be a real challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine. So the goal is to move closer to the happy camper. Is that right?
Yeah, that's where we want to be. We want to be the happy camper where we can do things today that are pleasurable, and we can also work towards our long-term goals. And when we look at recovery, that's really what we're working on, because recovery is a lot about working on the future towards something better for myself. And at the same time, being able to see what's good in front of me right now and experience pleasure, that the journey itself is part of the destination. So those things actually
Yeah.
combine. And I'm thinking of our last episode that we just did, Eric, when we talked about the hero's journey. I think the happy camper, when they're looking at the hero's journey, they're at a place where all of those moments, although painful, are important.
Yeah.
And they're like, this journey is important to me. So they can balance those things out and create long-term satisfaction. When we reach those long-term goals and we can enjoy them in the present moment, that's where happiness is. Once again, these are feelings. Happiness is not a destination. It's a state of being. And a state of being comes and goes.
I would agree. And the more you probably chase it, the harder it is to find.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you can do with this is you can look at these archetypes and you can start to look at your thinking around them. And I think at times we all fall into these in certain spaces. If we are tending to fall into one of these more than any of the others, more than the happy camper, then yeah, we're going to be struggling finding happiness in our life.
Yeah. So I think this is a great tool to look at it and analyze yourself. Am I a rat racer right now? Am I just setting the goalpost and moving to the goalpost and having to continually push the goalpost out,
Yeah.
and have that reflection and then adjust accordingly?
Yeah. And I think, like you think about some of these examples in recovery, right? The person who's the overachiever or the rat racer, maybe they're in recovery, but they're looking at these milestones like 1 year out, 2 year out. That's when I'm going to be happy. 3 years out, that's when I'll be happy. And they neglect finding the joy in the present moment. Like today I was sober and just enjoying that piece right there. Another example, when I think about like the hedonist or the pleasure seeker, I just want to fight this pain. I'm just going to find immediate pleasure in the short-term possibilities in front of me, jeopardizing their long-term sobriety. So it's like, oh, I'm going to just go here because I just need this immediate pleasure. I just need to feel okay right now, which then undermines their recovery efforts.
I would agree. And usually with those type of individuals, they feel like they should always be happy. And life isn't like that, right?
That's
if you're
right.
always chasing those things, you're not always going to be happy. Like you said, it's an emotion. It comes, goes, and that's part of it.
Yeah. And if you think of the nihilist or the cynic, there's just like a sense of hopelessness in the recovery journey. Why should I even do this? It's probably not really going to mean anything. And so then they lack any motivation to maintain sobriety. They can ask, what's the point of staying clean? There's no brighter future anyway.
Yeah. That's a hard space to be in.
Yeah. So when we get back to the happy camper, they're balancing that long-term sobriety goals with daily practices that bring them joy and fulfillment. So they're bringing their daily recovery into the room, and they're enjoying that peace today, and they're pursuing long-term goals.
Yeah. So it's kind of like they're a balance between the rat racer and the hedonist. And that makes sense. And I think the bottom line boils down to just being more present and enjoying the journey, like setting goals, but be more present and enjoying the journey as you try to get to some of those goals.
That would be the happy camper. And that, when you look at the research of positive psychology, those people are feeling better. They feel happier. So we can look at our archetypes and challenge those archetypes to improve our life and change our thinking around that.
Absolutely.
So once again, we created a worksheet to help you identify this, maybe challenge some of these archetypes for yourself, and really maybe get to the place of the happy camper and enjoy your life, enjoy your recovery. So check that out. There'll be a link in the show notes. You can just download it there, or you can download it at theaddictedmind.com/plus. So check that out. And we'll go into a deep dive on this material on Friday. So you can go to theaddictedmind.com deep dive and register there. And we'll talk more about these archetypes, answer your questions, and dig in deeper if you need a little more help and support.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you're having a hard time with this, we are creating a community. So go ahead and join the waitlist there. That's at addictedmind.com/community. There's a waitlist form you can fill out and join us there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really awesome. I'm excited about that. So once again, if you're getting a lot out of the Addicted Mind, please share this episode with a friend or someone you think would get a lot out of it. We'd really appreciate it. You can also leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. That would be really cool as well. And thanks for listening. We'll talk to you on the next episode.
See you on the next episode.
Thank you for tuning into The Addicted Mind Plus. We hope today's episode has brought you valuable insights and a small step to support your journey in recovery, mental health, and wellness. For more information about this episode and additional resources, please visit our website at theaddictedmind.com/plus. And if there's a topic you're eager to hear about or a question you'd like us to explore, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at theaddictedmind.com and let us know your thoughts. Your journey is important, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, take care and keep stepping forward on your path to wellness.